Angels, we back for part three.
Three.
Um, so I just had to go and do work on rechecking videos, uploading the part one and part two, and I already told what happened from the beginning of the pregnancy up until the birth, and me finding out that my kidneys and my liver wasn't working, and he was saying it was due to the dye. Throughout the videos, he was saying that there was parts that I was missing that I don't remember, and parts that supposedly I was told before the birth that I don't remember being told before the birth, or I just maybe wasn't in my right state of mind to really hear them telling me this stuff because of the amount of pain I was in. So now I'm gonna let him tell what he remember, from everything from the beginning of the labor, the active labor, and afterwards. So go ahead.
All right, once again, I'm Wayne Griffith. For those of y'all that might not know who's just tuning into this video, I'm not going to talk too long because I'm not long-winded. No offense, but I'm not one. All right, so from what I remember, I was there. Where am I supposed to start again?
Start from the beginning, like not what I already told. But what I missed. What did I miss? What happened that I don't remember?
All right, it was 24 hours since you had the epidural shot. They couldn't give you any pain medicine because you didn't give birth yet. So that was out of the question. But you was in excruciating pain. Also, you had the potassium drip. Your iron was very low, extremely low, to the point where you didn't know it at the time. They didn't know it, but they were going to transfer you to a different department in the hospital. All right, you gave birth. After you gave birth, they told you had the PE, pulmonary embolism. You know, your heart was swollen.
They said they was gonna check for the pulmonary embolism, but I didn't have it.
All right, no, you're right. I'm sorry. You didn't have it. They were gonna check for it, but your kidneys and liver were failing. So they gave you some dye so they can check your liver and kidneys, actually.
They gave me the dye to check for the pulmonary embolism, and the dye from the pulmonary embolism shut my kidney down.
Yeah, I was getting to that.
But you said they gave it to me for the
to also
kidney.
Check your kidneys, because due to the excessive amount of in your system potassium, which is due to the turmeric that you was,
They didn't say that.
They asked you, well, what have you been taking? Told you were taking turmeric, which raised your
I was
potassium.
Drinking coconut water like every day.
Yeah.
Instead of in place of water, and I was eating potatoes like every day, and stuff like that, which is high in potassium, and I just didn't know that it was gonna cause a problem.
Yeah, and it was overloading your system.
And then they was giving me a potassium drip as well.
Yes.
Which I didn't remember that.
Then they gave you the dye, and then that kind of sent your kidneys into overload, and thus, sent your liver into overload, which couldn't get rid of toxins fast enough, which sent your kidneys into overload because it couldn't filter your blood fast enough. So your kidneys started failing. So then they moved you to ICU. So you're up there for a couple of days as well, in addition to the 10 days. And then they
What
sent
10 days?
You were in the hospital for 10 days before you even gave birth. The 10th day was 10th or 11th day, I believe, they gave you the epidural shot. You might have been on the 11th day.
So the 10 days was before they sent me home, before I came back to the hospital?
No, you stayed in the hospital. I remember because I stayed in the hospital, I didn't have a change of clothes. I knew all the nurses and the doctors by name, most of the doctors by name, heart specialists and all that stuff. So, they took you to ICU. Only immediate family and I can come up there. You had a code and all that stuff to get into the room and stuff like that. But it was in the intensive care unit. and they wanted to check your liver and they wanted to check your kidneys. They couldn't give you any more potassium because that would have, your kidneys already shut down. So
yeah, they was telling me that I was like, they wouldn't let me have a lot of type of food. That they was feeding me string beans and rice. Like they were trying to feed me other stuff that was just, I was vegan, so I couldn't eat it. I was afraid to eat it because of how it was gonna, I thought it was gonna affect me, and I didn't want to have that sudden change and that sudden effect on my baby, because I was breastfeeding and either still pregnant and then breastfeeding, and so I just didn't want to go through that. And then on top of everything that was going on, I didn't want to add that reaction to what was already happening. So they was just feeding me basically string beans and rice, and then they started allowing me to have veggie patties and like trying to add some other stuff. And then they was sending me stuff that I really wasn't supposed to have, and then they found out they wasn't supposed to be sending me that, so they cut that back and they tried to add some other stuff. It was just very difficult. Everything about it was difficult.
I think you were in ICU while pregnant. No, I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. It was after pregnancy. That's right. Because the baby was in the nursery by then. Yeah. So, yep. And then after the ICU unit, they sent you downstairs, back downstairs.
Back to labor and delivery.
No.
What, recovery?
No.
Back
to recovery, yes.
Yeah, back to where the people that just had a baby are recovering.
Yes. And then after that, they sent you to the stroke.
And they sent me there because they was telling me that my blood was so low that I needed blood and I was dying. And so they sent me to ICU because I was dying. And they wanted to try to help me recover, but it's against my beliefs to take blood. And so they were telling me that I needed blood. I had to take the blood to survive, and I just couldn't. And so they took me out of ICU and sent me back to recovery because I missed my baby and I wanted to see my baby, and my baby couldn't come to ICU. And so they sent me back to recovery so that I could be closer to my baby, and because they wasn't going to be able to give me the blood, which was what I really, really needed to even begin the process of saving my life. And I couldn't deal with that decision constantly being brought to me after I already said what I said. And so they sent me back there, and then they sent me somewhere else. They sent me back to ICU. Go ahead.
Yep. Sent you back to ICU, and then in turn they sent you to the stroke unit, which is the unit when people have strokes and other serious but less than life-threatening ICU, intensive care type treatment. But it's still, something serious. So they monitored you for a little while. And all during this time, she was pumping breast milk. And, we were running back and forth to...
I couldn't walk.
Right?
I couldn't barely talk. I couldn't turn over.
Yep.
I couldn't do anything.
She couldn't do any of that.
Tell them what I looked like and what was going on with me.
For one, the nurses weren't really doing their job, not throwing no hate anywhere, but they weren't really, they felt the need that they didn't have to be as proficient, I guess, who knows. They just weren't, by the time they would get to doing things, I already done took care of it.
I felt like I was being too needy for them, and every time I needed something, it felt like it was a burden on them, and they didn't want to be bothered.
It's their job. If you were 80 years old, they would have to do it.
But I think when they're looking at somebody that's as young as I am, but not even just as young as I am, as young as I look, and even though my charts are there, I'm sure they didn't just take the time to thoroughly look through my chart to see what my whole circumstances was. So it was probably difficult for them to comprehend that this really is this serious. So they looking at, I gave birth, okay.
You should be
It's not that serious.
Yeah.
It's like it's something going on, but it's not that dramatic. Like why don't she just do this herself? And I really was helpless.
They didn't know you had a plate in your back, spinal problems, all that other stuff. They didn't know.
But I don't even think that was really. I don't remember that even really affected me so much. It's just like I've never felt so weak in my life. I never felt so helpless in my whole life. Like even when I had my back surgery and had to learn how to walk all over again, I still didn't feel that helpless. Like I was able to still roll over by myself, and I was still able to talk and have a conversation and sing. Like I tried to sing to my baby, and I got 3 words out and completely lost my breath. And that made me feel so pathetic and horrible. And I was like, that's when it really hit me that I'm dying. Like how can I not get 3 words out? That was too much. It was way too much for me.
And you didn't want to go through with blood transfusions.
I didn't want to go through any of it no more. Like I was ready for if I was
ready to give up.
Yeah, I did
which
give up.
Which didn't make sense to me.
I gave up.
Which kind of pissed me off because you were so stubborn that day, and I was like, "What in the? Like, man, it's blood."
It's blood. It's somebody else's blood.
She wouldn't even take my blood. I'm a O positive donor. She wouldn't take her father's blood.
My dad won't give me his blood
if
anyway.
He could, or if he would.
My dad
probably wasn't going to, like you said. But who knows? And I was like, well, damn. I understand.
It didn't mean I didn't love you.
Has nothing to do with love. I understand the sacrifice, but damn, you don't want to see them grow up.
It's not that. I just felt like I could take it and I could still die. Like if people take the blood and they still die.
I was just about to explain that, but other than that, I mean, you know the rest of the story.
Finish.
Right.
You know better than me because of my memory. I don't remember a lot.
I mean,
I just remember it was very traumatic and it was horrible. It was so horrible. And I just wanted to be over with one way or another. Like so many times I do remember telling them, y'all keep coming. Like it was like every day they was coming and telling me a different way I was dying. Every day they was coming and telling me my blood count was getting lower. My blood count dropped to as low as a 4.
Yeah, it was critical.
My white blood cells dropped as low as a 44. Like it was, if it dropped any more, I wouldn't have had any blood in my body to even be alive. Like I wasn't gonna make it another week. Like when you look at the math, every day it went from, I forgot where it started, where they said it was low, but it was like every day the number was lower, and for it to be at a 4.
Yeah, your blood corpuscle is supposed to be at over 8.
And that's what was at 44, right? It was at 44 because I remember it was 2 types of the red cells and the white cells. The red cells, the hemoglobin was 4. The other one was a 44. So if my hemoglobin had dropped anymore, I would have had no red blood cells, period, whatsoever.
Yeah, not much at all.
And I found out later they thought that I had some type of disease where my blood was basically self-destructing, that it was basically self-imploding and killing itself, and so that they thought that I was going to have to continue to keep on getting blood transfusions, and I was like, no, that's dead. Like for real, just take me off of these machines and let me go last holiday on your ass. Like,
yeah, she's about to
Mom,
give up,
I was like, I straight up, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I sat my mama down and I said, look, whatever happened. She was like, what you gonna do about the baby's discharge, because the baby can't just stay here too much longer, and so on and so forth. I was like, let them release her to you. I had already told them I don't believe in formula at all, none whatsoever. But I'm like, if I'm already about to die, then she's still gonna have to eat. So it's not gonna be an option. She's gonna have to be on formula because you can't take breast milk from a dead body, and so y'all gonna have to end up giving her formula, so just do it, feed my baby. And so I was like, Mom, go ahead and let them discharge her to you. Just take care of my baby and let them take me off these machines, because I didn't want to be in the hospital no more. I was over being in the hospital. I was over being told negative news every day. I was over all that negativity, that fear.
Like, do it, just get it.
I was over the fear. I was over the pain. I was over the weakness. I was over allowing myself to feel weak.
Just about to give up.
And listen. I was over allowing myself to feel weak and helpless, and I just wanted to get out of the hospital because I knew if I could go outside and get some fresh air, if I could at least got some fresh air, that would have pumped my spirit up some. If I could see the sky, like not looking through the windows from my bed, but to actually get up, force myself to walk, force myself to live, force myself to have fun in spite of and not think about this stuff no more. That's all I wanted. And if I was gonna die, at least I died living. I didn't want to be in that hospital. Listen to what I'm saying. If I can go out there and have a life, like do everything, all the stuff that I sat here, I went through so many years. I went through so many years alive but not living. I went through my life and I had to look back on, I didn't set nothing up that I wanted to set up. I didn't do half the stuff I wanted to do. Yes, I went through a few years ago. I knocked several things off my bucket list in 1 year. But it's so many things that I didn't do that I know I had set in my mind that I knew I wanted to do, but I didn't do out of sake of I'm holding off for somebody else. And I was like, I don't want to go out like that. I don't want to go out in this hospital with a whole lot of regret, a whole lot of fear, a whole lot of pain, a whole lot of I can't, a whole lot of I'm not gonna be. I didn't want to go out like that. And so I didn't want to go out with them constantly coming and telling me you're dying, you're dying, you're dying. That's not what I wanted to hear anymore. I didn't want to hear it no more. I didn't want that energy anymore. I wanted to just get out of that hospital, take these machines off me so I could stop feeling the stuff in my body. I could go and just forget about it, go do whatever I needed to do, whatever I wanted to do, whatever I wanted to do, and just have fun. And if I dropped dead having fun, who cared? I wouldn't know. I wouldn't realize it anymore because I'm dead. But I didn't want to go out with fear in my mind. I didn't want to go out with pain in my mind. I didn't want to go out with a whole lot of negative, no positive. I had no positive thoughts going on at the time. I couldn't. And I didn't want that anymore. I wanted to get out the hospital and die living. Like, I felt like my kids was going to lose me anyway. They were losing me. And it bothered me that everybody was making it seem like to them is like she's okay when I wasn't. And they weren't. If I was to die, I would have died with them being unprepared for the loss. And that's not right. I don't believe in that. Like, you should not leave this world without your kids being prepared to be able to survive without you. I don't agree with that. So I wanted to just go, let them know, Mommy loves you. Mommy never stopped loving you. Mommy never stopped being here for you. Mommy never stopped fighting for you. But Mommy's life has been lived. And I will forever be in your heart. And just go and live my life until it's over. Because at the end of the day, we all gonna die at some point anyway. We don't know when we're gonna die. And I had that so complete and total realization while I was going through that. Regardless of whether I took the blood, regardless of what happened, we cannot control when we're gonna drop. End of the story, moral of the story is you never know when your time is gonna be over. You never know what's going to happen. You can't sit here and say, I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to do this next week. Life and death is unpredictable. Take the moment that you have right now, the second you have right now, like I said the other day. Do everything that you've been given to do. Everything that you want to do, everything that you desire to do, as long as it's within God's will, whatever God you serve, whatever it is, higher power that you serve, as long as it's within the will of that, live your life, because it's not promised any further than now. I love you guys. Stay up. Go down below. Like this video. Support me and my family. We love you for it. We appreciate it. We need it. Subscribe to the channel so you won't miss nothing, because from the time I made it and survived. And the time my birthday hit, I got a chance to see another birthday. I'm living my life. Period. And you don't want to miss it, because I got some things for y'all. I got some surprises coming for y'all, and y'all don't want to miss it. So go down there and hit that subscription bell, hit that notification bell, so you can be the first one to see it. And don't miss nothing. Hit the like button so YouTube will know you like my videos, and they'll make it more accessible. Again, I love you guys. Stay up. Peace.